We remain standing for the national anthem. National anthem, please. Thank you. Let me quickly invite the following members to be on the high table. The representative of the Permanent Secretary, Barrister Okoro Osondu Peter, Director overseeing of the Permanent Secretary. I also invite the Chairman, Esba Bound, SSBO Asuwaju Dosu Patokun, to be on the high table. Chairman Esba. Also to join on the high table is a representative of the President, Nigerian Institution of SS Surveyors and Valuers, SSBO Adamu Kasum. Come to the high table, sir. Also to join on the high table is the Senior Social Development Specialist World Bank, Dr. Michael Elisami. You're welcome, sir. Also to be on the high table is the National Coordinator RAM, Dr. Engineer Aminu Bodinga. Welcome to the high table, sir. Also to be on the high table is the Director of Lands and Housing Development in the Ministry, SSBO Collins Alabi. You're welcome, sir. The Honorable Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dengiwa, Honorable Minister of State, Abdullahi Tijani Gorzo, the Director overseeing Office of the Permanent Secretary, Barrister Okoro Osondu Peter, the Chairman Esba Bound, SSBO Asuwaju Dosu Potoko, the representative of the President, Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, SSBO Adamu Kasum, Senior Social Development Specialist World Bank, Dr. Michael Elisami, the National Coordinator, Rural Access and Agricultural Marketing Project, RAM, Engineer Dr. Aminu Bodiga, Directors of Land in the Ministry, SSBO Collins Alabi, Directors of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development here present, delegates from state relevant agencies on land matters here present, respected professional individual, and specially invited members from the academia, invited members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning to every one of us. This is a National Technical Development Forum meeting on the 2024 review of compensation rate on crops and economic trees. This meeting is being put together by the Federal Ministry of Housing in partnership with the World Bank Group and RAM projects. Just before we go into the program proper, let me read out just a brief announcement from the hotel management. Dear guests, you are welcome to this event. The hotel management wishes to advise all participants to take the following security precautions to curb the nefarious act of some syndicates that mingle into important or function like this, pretending to be participants. All participants should be properly accredited and accreditation cards conspicuously displayed. Try to recognize those around you. Take good care of your valuables, especially your bags, laptop, computer, GSM handset, etc. They are some of the items targeted by the criminals, especially during tea breaks, lunch, or dinner period. We wish you successful deliberation. Thank you, management. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, let me quickly invite Director Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Dr. Esasebeyo Collins Alabi, to give us a welcome address. Director, sir.
Thank you very much, everybody. I want to specially recognize our amiable and performing Honorable Minister, who has given us all the necessary support to drive land administration in Nigeria effectively. In the same stead, I want to appreciate our Honorable Minister of State, who has thrown his weight behind the minister and other top management of the ministry. I would like to recognize, even in absentia, our permanent secretary, ably represented by the Director of Finance and Accounts. He has always been there to see that we succeed. Permit me also to recognize the National Coordinator of RAM, not forgetting our World Bank team here present. Permit me also, in that same light, to recognize the Presidential Technical Committee on Land Reform here present. A new dawn has started in land administration. Permit me to recognize as well the Chairman of the Board of Estate Surveyors and Valuer. Permit me as well, in that same stead, to recognize the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuer, ably represented, state delegations across the country. The minister told me that he's still expecting more of you to be here, quietly. Our critical stakeholders, you are all recognized. Other invited guests, the press, our good and able staff of the ministry, management, and others, ladies and gentlemen. Before I make this welcome address, I would like to make a request to this august body to give our management team, from the minister, the permanent minister of state, the permanent secretary, other management staff of the ministry, a resounding and loud ovation. In standing, please. Can we have our seat, please? Because without them, we won't be here. In the day, in the night, they have always been supporting us. My job is just very simple: to welcome all of us. I go by presenting the address. I am delighted to have the rare privilege of welcoming all of us to this epoch national assignment that is going to change land administration procedures in Nigeria. Specifically, I want to thank eminent personalities, which you are, who in one way or the other, for finding time to attend this significant event. That is, harmonization and review of compensation rates on crops and economic trees. This is a laudable endeavor. Permit me to state here that we are battling with challenges associated with land acquisition and consequences of payment of compensation across the country. The ministry has received complaints from many Nigerians whose landed properties were expropriated as a result of eminent domain, stating that their properties has been grossly undervalued due to the application of existing rates on crops and economic trees. This, they noted, does not reflect what the economic indices indicates. You will agree with me that the existing rate is overdue for review, and the time to do it is now. There is nothing wrong in attaining compensation standard by adjusting upward rates appropriate on crops and economic trees, where livelihoods of project-affected persons is concerned. Under the present administration of our dear President, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, and through our dynamic and performing minister and his team, Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, FNIA, FCIB, Honorable Minister of Housing and Urban Development, a new face of land administration is being unveiled. There is no doubting the fact that a lot of work has to be done or gone into this review, which will make its validation acceptable to all Nigerians. We have been on this project since October last year. It will work, it won't work, until we connect to all of you from the states, and you have shown your remarkable support to the laudable project we are about to unveil. In doing this, we can boast that Nigerian land administration system is aiming towards global best practices. Only recently, we just came back from UK and Japan. The experience will be shared once I've cleared with my minister and his team. It's a wonderful experience that will shape the system of land administration in Nigeria towards attaining global best practices. It is on this note, I want to sincerely, once again, welcome you and thank you for finding time to come towards changing the narrative of our dear country. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Director Lance. SSB Collins Alabi, for that welcome address. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now invite the National Coordinator, RAM, Dr. Engineer Aminu Boringa, to present an overview. National Coordinators.
The Honorable Minister, Federal Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, the Honorable Minister of State, Federal Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, the representative of the Permanent Secretary, the President of the professional body, the representative from the state. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I really want to appreciate the Honorable Minister of Land and Housing for inviting us to be part of this great event. The Rural Assets and Agricultural Marketing Project is a project that is domiciled with Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. And the mandate of this project, which is being financed by World Bank, French Development Agency, and lately European Investment Bank, is to improve rural access, agricultural marketing, and to equally support the present administration in poverty reduction and the attainment of food security. Honorable Minister, sir, permit me to make a presentation that may likely give our audience the exact mandates of the organization I'm heading. This project started sometimes in 2007, and it was piloted in Kaduna and Cross River State. Kaduna was financed by World Bank, while Cross River was financed then by African Development Bank. We were able to open up rural areas, and we are able to construct over 1,000 kilometers of rural roads in these two states. We are equally providing small culverts and bridges to connect two villages or a village that is connected to the local government headquarters. The successes recorded in the implementation of the phase 1 of this project paved way for the expansion of the project, where we admitted another 5 states, involving Adamawa, Enugu, Niger, Osun, and the Imo State. Having done that, we are able to construct over 2,000 kilometers in the 4 states, while over 300 kilometers are currently ongoing in Imo State. Honorable Minister, sir, what you see here, this is the present condition of the rurals in this country. And you will all agree with me, most of the food we put on our table is coming from these rural areas. Most of our farmers in this country are peasant farmers, and they are living in these isolated areas. They are living in the rural areas. This is how our market looks. This is how our roads looks. During rainy season, if you look at picture number 3, you hardly get any vehicle to pass or across here. Particularly, I want to give example with Niger State. A particular village in Niger State, they have to go, if they are connecting to Kontagora, they have to go through Mokwa to New Busa and come through the village from behind. In the next slides, possibly you'll be able to see the picture. When we visited those communities, the chief of that community asked us that, I hope this will not be the last time I will see you, because other team came and they left and they never come back. And today, we're able to provide access to those communities. And in the event there is an issue with the highway linking Kontagora to Ilorin, this is the road motorists use to pass through to connect to Yauri when they are going in the far north around Birnin Kebbi and Sokoto State. Next slide, please. So the philosophy behind this project is to target these people that are isolated, living in these rural areas. One, to provide access to them, including agricultural marketing. Initially, the first phase of the project, we didn't consider agricultural marketing as a very important aspect of it. But when we come to the second phase, we now realize how important it is for us to equally ensure that we support agricultural marketing, not only providing access to the market, but equally to support the people on how to trade and equally ensure that we reduce post-harvest losses, which normally some of the farm produce are perishable. Immediately, if you cannot sell during the market day, before the next market date, the food will have gotten rotten. So we provide them with storage facilities that this, if you cannot sell your produce, all you needed is to put it in either a storage facility, a cold room, or depending on the type of crops for the next market day. So we also consider asset management. One of the major challenges we have in this country is the issue of maintenance. We can put in these roads, just like what happened in Ramp 1, and equally I made mention of Ramp 2. When you put the roads without putting maintenance mechanism in place, in the next few years to come, these roads will disappear. We can, most of you that were old enough to know Directorate for Food, Road and Rural Infrastructure, which was the best intervention that this country did when it comes to development of rural roads. And now some of these roads were either transformed into highways, state roads, and some of them vanish into thin air, and some of them are gongoli because there is no maintenance put in place to sustain this investment. So this project consists of asset management, very, very critical and very important to ensure the sustainability of the investment. We also look at sector reform. We want to change the way we do things, all right? We don't want these people living in rural areas have nobody that's taking responsibility, nobody who's taking care of them. So that is where the issue of sector reform, we want to change the way we do things. And I'm telling you, we are promoting one of the biggest sector reform in this country. So far, we have 19 states that are participating in this current project, Rural Access and Agricultural Marketing Project, where we ensure that these states provide bills sponsored by their excellencies for the establishment of Rural Access Road Authority in the participating state and equally state road fund. It's not good enough just to put the Rural Road Authority, but it's also how do you sustain the financing of these rural roads. I particularly give this example, wherever you go, you have state road maintenance, we equally have federal road maintenance agency. But most of these agencies depend largely on budgetary provisions. If there is no provision in the budget, they will not execute their responsibilities. So we make sure that not only establishing the agency, but a sustainable financing mechanism is put in place through the state road fund. So the project development objective is one, to improve rural access. That is to link people to either market, communities, so that they will have access to social amenities, including pipe-borne water, primary school, market, health facilities, and what have you. We also ensure that we strengthen the financial institutions that support the implementation of this project through capacity buildings and equally establishing some standard document for a better way of constructing rural roads in this country. So far, the project has 19 states, including Imo, which was part of RAM 2. We have 19 states currently ongoing. We have about 10 northern states, as you can see them there. And we equally have provision. We just negotiated another facility with World Bank in terms of expanding the project to become a national project. So we are looking forward to admitting all the other states that are not currently part of this project. But the state selection criteria is there for any state to be able to join the project. It's not just open, but we put some criteria for state to show interest and equally be part of this project. Recently, we equally get financing from European Investment Bank to finance additional states, which I think they were not captured here, including Adamawa, Taraba, Borno, Benue, Cross River, which other state did I miss? Edo State. So this state will soon be on board, and equally we are looking forward to constructing nothing less than 500 kilometers in each of these states. So the project is being financed. The project currently has $575 million US, and the largest contributor is World Bank with $280 million US. We equally have the French Development Agency with 230, which is equivalent to 40%, and the government of Nigeria, including the state government, are contributing $65 million US, which is equivalent to 11%. So the project has three major components. One is the improvement of rural access, and the second one is the sector reform, And then the third one is institutional development. So, as you know, when you are constructing road, there is that likelihood where you are likely going to take somebody's land to give the right of way for the construction of roads. You are likely going to remove an economic tree belonging to a particular family, for you to provide the access. And so many other things that happen in the course of the implementation of the project that are likely going to affect families in a very negative way. And that is why I think we are here. The essence here is that we don't provide access and bring poverty also, or compromise the means of livelihood of these communities. We make sure that these people are compensated adequately. During the implementation of RAM 2, I think precisely in Osun State and I think Adama, we're able to even build houses that we met them as mold houses. We constructed houses for these people that we have to take substantial part of their residence for the road construction. So this project is so keen and so interested. We are working closely with World Bank. Senior social development specialist Michael Elesomi has been quite supportive, and through their support and the financing, we are able to make sure that we take care of every family. We are taking their economic tree, or we are taking a piece of land from them. And this has been consistent from the beginning of this project to date. And the more we expand the project, the more we look forward to see how we compensated these people. And that is why there is collaboration between Federal Ministry of Land and Housing and equally the project. We are working closely with the ministry. I want to appreciate Honorable Minister to see how we make sure that we standardize and equally we update our document in terms of compensating these people. So I want to let you know that we carry out studies, both environment, social, and equally the project affected people. We equally look into the issues of gender under this project. So Michael has been the backbone of all this support we are receiving from World Bank in achieving this. So we don't want to construct road while other people are celebrating. We put people in jeopardy. If you look at this sign by your left-hand side, these are some of the marks. Engineers knows what this means, and when you see something written below, like 10 meters now, so from this electric pole, 10 meters out of somebody's land is going to be taken away from him. And that does not mean because we are bringing road, we want to take this land for free. We make sure that these families are adequately compensated. The next one you see down is 6 meters, and that is going to be taken from somebody's land. So these are some of the issues we pay attention to, and we make sure that these people are being compensated adequately. So under the institutional reforms that I made mention, which is also a subcomponent of this project, we want to make sure that, unlike any other project financed by development partners, after the exit of the financing, that's the end of the project. There are so many meaningful projects that were introduced by World Bank and other development partners, but immediately the project closes, that's the end of the project. This time around, we want to make sure that under this project, even without the financing from World Bank and other financiers, we will be able to make sure that we continue to open up more rural areas. The least we can do, at least, to ensure that we maintain these rural areas. And by doing so, out of the 19 states we have under this project, all the 19 states have placed the bills for the establishment of Rural Access Road Authority in their state, while we have about 14 of them shaded in pink color that have already signed the bills into law. And we have 2 states that are currently leading the operationalization of these agencies. We want to see a transition at the end of the project without the state project implementation unit and even the office I'm managing now. We should be able to see our roads being maintained. Look at the amount of money we are talking, $575 million US, and hopefully by next year we are expecting another $600 million US for intervention in these rural areas. So we can't allow these roads after construction to be left without maintenance, and that's what brings about the issue of institutional reforms. We want to change the way we do things. We want to have an agency at the state level that is responsible for maintenance and equally development of rural roads. We want to equally see that in each state we have the sustainable financing. And the sustainable financing, the secret behind it is that some states said, okay, local government chairman, Algon, and the rest of local government chairman, by virtue of Nigerian constitution, it's your role to provide access. And here you have an agency that's going to support you. What percentage of your national allocation you are going to provide? Some will say 3%, 5%, and what have you. In the bill, we also have State Ministry of Works, when they award civil works contract, a fraction of that amount is equally coming into this. We equally make sure that we contacted private sectors like All Farmers Association, National Union of Road Transport Workers, and the relevant professional bodies in this area to ensure that they are equally part of this very important institutional reform we are promoting under this project. So, in the course of the implementation of the project, we realized there is a need for us. For the first time, we equally have in this country a document called Low Volume Roads Manual for design, maintenance, and operation of rural roads in this country. This project was able to finance this very important study before we rely heavily on highway manual for the design of rural roads in this country. So today we have Low Volume Roads Manual designed by this project that is being used not only to the RAM, but equally is available on our website for other projects and equally government institutions that are into rural roads development. We equally have Nigerian Rural Transport Infrastructure Management System. In this country, so far we have digitized over 200,000 kilometers of rural roads in this country. Our records had indicated that we have over 300,000 kilometers of rural roads in this country, out of which 80% is in bad and poor condition. How can we change this? And this is why we have this very important intervention to make sure that we increase the rural access index by making sure that people have access, people living within 2 kilometers will have access to a sustainable road that they can use. We also have construction site monitoring software. Because of the security situation of this country and to ensure quality and adequate supervision, we developed this software that at the comfort of your office, you can supervise ongoing road construction. You can limit your frequency of visit to project site by using the software to supervise the road construction. So this is one of the very important aspects of the project. So this is part of the achievement. I think this is in Niger State. This is how we met this particular location, and look at how this location looked like. Next slide, please. This is Three-Span Bridge, the communities I was talking about. This is when we went, I'm doing in red here, flying this particular road. Today, this is how this road looked like. This picture was taken when the road construction was ongoing. Next slide, please. This is how we meet this road in Osun State, and look at how the road looks like now. Next slide, please. This is another river crossing, a very big river crossing, and people fetch their drinking water in this particular place, as you are seeing. Today, because of this road, these people are able to have potable drinking water in the communities. Government construct boreholes, and equally some communities construct boreholes and start selling pure water. Go ahead. This is in Katsina State, I think precisely Danja to Bazanga to Nahuche, we spoil from Bazanga to Kokami. This is the road we have recently commissioned under this present project. Next, please. This is how our market looks like. The top one by my left-hand side, you can see this is our market. This is how we want to make sure that our market look in the next few years to come. This is how people trade agricultural farm produce on open, bare land. This is how we want to see our packaging, and equally for us to have hygienic food. Next, please. So this is all, Honorable Minister, sir. I want to appreciate you for this opportunity, and equally want to thank you very much. Thank you.
Let's appreciate the National Coordinator Ram once again. Before we start the goodwill messages, we request the delegates and directors from the states to please stand up for special recognition. Directors and delegates from the states that are here, kindly stand up for recognition. Thank you, you are welcome. Clap for them, please. Our first goodwill message will be given by Senior Social Development Specialist, World Bank, Dr. Michael Elisami.
Honorable Minister, Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, the Director, Department of Lands and the Federal Ministry, National Coordinator, Rural Access and Agricultural Marketing Project, the Chairman of the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, the Chairman, Presidential Technical Committee on Land Reforms, the Chairman, Estates Valuers Registration Board. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to be here, and I bring you warm greetings from the Country Director of the World Bank, Mr. Ntdf. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a really great initiative, and I would like to start by congratulating the government of Nigeria for this work. What we're seeing today is a product of a very unusual collaboration between the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. And through the Rural Access and Agricultural Marketing Program that you've just heard from the National Coordinator, been able to support the Department of Lands to update this harmonized compensation rates. You will agree with me that this is a very key step to not only strengthening country capacity for environmental and social management, social framework management, but also, broadly speaking, land acquisition and resettlement, and the poverty reduction agenda of the government of Nigeria. And programs such as what we are about to hear from the Ntdf really signals to different stakeholders, including development partners, private sector players, and the citizen at large, that government truly means business, and that Nigeria is open for business. And so, as a partner of the government of Nigeria, we're proud to be associated with this. We're keen to continue to work with you on this journey, and we'd like to commend the very bold initiative of the administration at addressing land reforms. You can continue to count on us, and we wish you fruitful deliberations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate him once again, ladies and gentlemen. Another appreciation for the Senior Special Assistant, World Bank, please. The next goodwill message will be given by a representative of the President, Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, SSCBO, Adamu Kasum. 5 minutes, please.
Honorable Minister, sir, and the Honorable Minister of State, kindly permit me to rely on the established protocol. Honorable Minister, I'm representing ESV Adekule Alonge, the President of the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, who is unavoidably absent. However, he has given me his message. Honorable Minister, sir, the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers would want to first appreciate your love for this profession. You have exhibited it severally, and you are doing so today. You have today provided a golden opportunity for the profession and the nation to solve a problem that has been with us since 2005. That is the issue of valuation rates for economic trees and crops. Honorable Minister, sir, it is our belief that at the end of this event, all issues of compensation rates will be resolved. The Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers is not just looking for harmonized rates, but we are hoping at the end of the day we are going to have rates that are responsive to the market, that is market expectations, that will lead to fairness and ensure adequacy, rates that will take care of inflations, rates that will take care of time, and also take care or comply with the provisions of the Land Use Act. Mr. Honorable Minister, sir, we are also opportuned to have the appropriate officers as provided for in the Land Use Act with us today. That is basically mainly the directors of lands from the states. We thank you for this opportunity too. At the end of this program also, it is expected that the state governments will complement what we are doing here by preparing for each state. What we expect as a professional body is that each state should be able to have a compensation policy domiciled and published in that state, which should be a reflection of what we are going to do here. Honorable Minister, sir. NIASV is offering its services and partnership to ensure that we, at the end of this program, have an acceptable compensation rate that will leave, in the next 10 years, we may not need to review. That should be our target today, and we are offering our services to achieve that. Thank you, Mr. Minister.
We thank the representative of the President NISB. Let's appreciate him once more, ladies and gentlemen. The next good message will be given by the chairman, Esbabon, SSCVO Aswaju Dosu Fatoku. Chairman, sir. Prime Minister.
Honorable Minister, the Minister of State, to save time, I want to stand by the existing protocol. But in doing that, I must recall what is awash in the polity, that the President of the country is trying to tinker with his cabinet. I want to say on this forum that if there is any minister and his deputy that will definitely be retained. It is our minister. Judging by all KPI, I think from day one, the minister and his deputy have hit the ground running. And we critical segments of your constituency are really very happy with you. And we can only wish you more grace to your elbow. Now, this forum of today is an effort to make the grand norm of the country, which is the Constitution, work better for everybody, every member of the Nigerian society. The Constitution provides that there must be adequate compensation when your land, your crops, economic trees are expropriated. You must be rightly compensated. And the effort of today is to ensure that this good will is put in motion. And we hope that by the end of today's session, we will have made good effort. Now, my colleague, ESV Kasumu, said that the problem of compensation has been with us since 2005. I think we should look back, far, far backward. In fact, since the time of land use decree, which was in 1978, and even before then, this problem has been hanging. So we appreciate this forum created by the ministry to look again and again. It is a proactive action, and we are very grateful for it. Now, the timing of this forum is very, very apt, because some weeks ago, there was a breaking news. We have this various platform that's within our profession, that the ministry went to London to seek the assistance of some foreign groups about land acquisition and compensation. Of course, our members were really agitated, but just within, while we were still brooding over the issue, invitation came for this forum that there should be a change of ideas, which this forum is about, and so we will calm down a bit. And of course, at our last forum, the Valuers Assembly, which the minister attended, the issue of compensation featured very, very prominently. And we noted that there has been even previous efforts by this ministry to harmonize compensation rates for land, for economic crops, economic trees all over the country. In fact, it's Mohammed Buba around here, the appropriate officer for Taraba State. Is he here? So he presented a very, very, very good paper, and we want to appreciate this effort. So this must be seen that as a continuing effort. So while we are not averse to partnering, because knowledge is not limited to a particular geographical area, but we believe that there is enough, we have enough resources within the country, particularly the profession that relates to this issue, the Nigerian Institution of State Surveyors, and of course, the SVABON, which is the eye of government on the profession, that we can really put forward good ideas with a view to making everybody happy about issue of adequate compensation. So the timing is very, very apt and welcome. Now, depending on which acquiring authority is at place, you are bound to have different compensation sums for even a given quantum of assets, either in terms of economic crops, land, buildings. For example, as of today, you have 3 different distinct rates applicable under the compensation law. The states have theirs, the federal government have theirs, and of course the private sector, as personified by the oil companies, they have their own different rates. So attempts to harmonize, which this forum is seeking, I think should be welcome. So I believe that this forum is in the right direction. And at the board level, at the ESAVOM level, we have made our own effort too. We have a green book, which is the book of standards of valuation for various purposes, either for general financial purposes, financial reporting, then compensation. Within the constraints, as you know that valuation for compensation is a statutory one. You are guided by laws. Within those constraints, we have set out our standards, and we hope that our representatives here, by the NIAV and myself, will be able to make our views available to this forum today. We've noted that, in fact, this is a forum of appropriate officers. Under our law, you have so much wide powers, but yet you are accused of so many things, of either not making use of these powers, or maybe you are under the burden of bureaucracy. I want to assure you that we are with you. We know your problems, because you are civil servants, and you are obedient servants at that, and so you must comply with regulations. So we believe that this forum will enhance your performance and your activities, because I believe that you are supposed to be all over the countries. So this forum, again, should be welcome on that issue. Now, what can I say again? Except to say that we should all be attentive, and we should all contribute, and we should all be frank, because the common man is affected by the output of today's event. Because when you want to make a new rules or construct a new housing estate, you are going to acquire lands owned by the common man. And the expectation is that the common man expects adequate and fair compensation according to the condition. So, Honorable Ministers, thank you very much for creating this forum. Thank you very much.
Let's appreciate the chairman, as Baba once more, ladies and gentlemen. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, next is the keynote address by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, to be read by the Head of Public-Private Partnership, Architect Abimbola. Permanent Secretaries.
Our ever proactive Honorable Minister, sir. Our ever supportive Honorable Minister of State. Good morning. Please permit me to stand on the well-established protocols. I'll read the keynote address by the Permanent Secretary. Please excuse me if my voice shakes a little, because these are big shoes that I'm filling now. Thank you. So, the keynote address. It is with great pleasure that I stand to address this gathering at the National Technical Development Forum on Land Administration for the 2024 review of compensation rates on crops and economic trees, which is of critical importance to our national development. I am thankful for the opportunity to share insights and underscore the federal government's commitment to ensuring that compensation for land acquisition, particularly for project-affected persons, PAP, is fair, just, and transparent. As we all know, land acquisition for public projects, whether for infrastructure development, housing, or other national initiatives, often result in displacement of communities and individuals. These projects are vital to our country's growth, but we must not lose sight of the people whose lives are directly impacted by them. Compensation is of great significance to project-affected persons, PAP, or claimants, being that crops and economic trees are not merely agricultural assets, but a vital element of livelihoods, and the loss of these resources can lead to profound socio-economic challenges. It represents income, food security, and a long-term investment in their future. Thus, the need for adequate compensation cannot be overemphasized. The Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development is keenly aware of this reality and is committed to ensuring that our compensation framework reflects current economic realities by ensuring that there is fair and timely compensation for project-affected persons, because it serves as a critical element in fostering trust between government and people it serves. It is important to note that compensation is not just a legal obligation, but a moral duty to restore the economic balance that is disrupted by land acquisition. The need to improve compensation rates for land acquisition is due to the many challenges of the current rates, which are obsolete, inconsistent in implementation, lack of comprehensive valuation, amongst others. Therefore, the 2024 review of compensation rates for crops and economic trees presents an opportunity to address these challenges and create a more equitable system for project-affected persons. This forum is organized to validate the submissions and data gathered from field work by the World Bank consultants. The reviewed rates to be adopted should reflect current market realities and incorporate inflation rates, changes in agricultural yields, cost of agricultural inputs to ensure the project-affected persons, PAP, receive compensations that mirror the value of their loss. The rates should reflect future economic potential of crops and economic trees, and the unique agricultural conditions and market realities of each geopolitical zone must be considered. The participation of PAPs, local communities, traditional rulers, and civil society organizations is also essential in the review process. As we embark on this important task of reviewing compensation rates, I urge all stakeholders to keep in mind the overarching goal of social justice and equity. We must adopt a human-centered approach and that prioritizes the well-being of individuals and communities affected by public projects. The Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development remains committed to ensuring that compensation for crops and economic trees is fair, transparent, and reflective of the current realities. We will continue to work closely with all stakeholders to ensure that this review leads to positive outcomes for all Nigerians. Finally, I would like to express my profound appreciation to all the participants at this forum who have taken out of their very precious time to engage this critical discussion. Your insights, recommendations will play a pivotal role in shaping the future of land administration in Nigeria. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to a fruitful deliberation and actionable outcomes from this forum. Dr. Marcus Ogumbiyi. Thank you very much.
Let's give the Permanent Secretary another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, at this honor, it's my privilege and honor to invite the Honorable Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Engiwa, FNIA FCIB, to deliver his speech. Honorable Minister, sir.
Please sit down. Thank you. Please. The Honorable Minister of State, Federal Minister of Housing and Urban Development, His Excellency Alhaji Abdullahi Tijani Gorzo, the Permanent Secretary, Federal Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Dr. Marcus Ogumbiyi, FNSE, the National Coordinator, Rural Access and Agricultural Marketing Project, RAMP, Dr. Engineer Aminu Babangida Mohammed, Bodinga Mohammed, sorry, the Senior Social Development Specialist of the World Bank, Dr. Michael Elesami, the President, Nigeria Institute of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, Estate Surveyor Victor Alonge, the Chairman, SVAVON, Estate Surveyors Board, the Registration Board of Nigeria, Estate Surveyor Asiwaju Dosu, distinguished delegates, participants from states that is supposed to include the permanent secretaries, directors of lands, and honorable commissioners of lands, the heads of agencies present here, respected invited guests, gentlemen and ladies of the press, that I expect to see even traditional rulers, CSOs, but as well as some stakeholders on land matters, the former director who are some of the members of the Presidential Technical Committee on Land. You are all welcome. I want to begin, first of all, by commending our Permanent Secretary, Dr. Marcus Ogumbiyi, the Director of Lands, Estate Surveyor Collins Alabi, and his dedicated team in Land Department, as well as all stakeholders who have worked tirelessly to make this 2024 meeting of the National Technical Development Forum on Land Administration possible. The event has involved significant planning, logistics, and coordination, and none of this would have been possible without your collective efforts. Please, well done to everyone. I want to also commend the RAMP through its national coordinator for the elucidating presentation he has given. Because today I've had a lot of knowledge on what RAMP means. I know it in my state, in Katsina, they are well over in the states doing a lot of projects. Today they have given us overview of what it entails. The World Bank representative here with us, also Mr. Michael Elesami, who have been engaging us for the past couple of months that on land matters. In fact, the SVAVON president he made a point that we are invited to US or under World Bank to go and study this compensation. We undertook this journey for this debate, for this event to happen. Whatever we are doing, we have to ensure that it aligns with the international standards. That's why we even went and see what they are doing in other facets of life. I'd also like to express my appreciation to the Director of Lands at the state levels, heads of agencies and stakeholders, and even the distinguished investors who have time out of their busy schedules to participate in this year's forum. Though I'm discouraged to see the number of participants from the states that are not many, it's very discouraging to have you very scanty, those who could not attend. because the matters we are discussing today entails the land matters. And as you know that the federal government constitutes only 5%, has only 5% of the entire 926 square kilometers of land in the country. Federal government only has less than 5% of it. The entire chunk of the land mass is being administered by the state governments under the directors and the permanent secretaries and commissioners of lands. So whatever we are discussing is matters that relates to you. The major benefit is coming to you and what have you. But all the same, after this event, we are going to have a communique that will send to all the states of the Federation for them to know and then implement for the benefit of our citizens. So your presence here demonstrates your commitment to improving land administration in the country. And you all know that one of the most discussed topics in development circles is land. This is not surprising given the critical role the land plays as a multi-leveled driver of national development, be it agriculture, housing, industries, and even infrastructure. The key pillars, these are the key pillars of our economy. They all rely on the availability and efficient use of land. In Nigeria, large portion of our population derives their livelihood from land. Farmers cultivate their crops, businesses build factories, investors seek land for commercial and residential development. This makes land not only a valuable economic asset, but a lifeline for millions of Nigerians. That's why those in charge of land affairs, they should regard themselves as very important citizens that need to always be engaged from time to time. Beyond agriculture and industry, land is also a catalyst for urban development and housing, which is particularly important for us as a Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. Nigeria's population, now over 200 million, is growing rapidly, and urbanization is transforming our cities. Our urban areas expand, the demand for land for housing, infrastructure, and public services continues to rise. As a ministry, we require access to land for housing projects. Our MDS, including the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria and the Federal Housing Authority, even the Surveyor General of the Federation, need access to land to fulfill their mandates for providing affordable housing to Nigerians. The state and local governments, developers, cooperatives, and private individuals all need land also for housing development. It is clear, therefore, that without efficient land management, our national housing goals cannot be achieved. I have to make all this in order to know that it is important to know that as a country, we are blessed with vast land covering about 922,769 square kilometers of land. We did not have a shortage of land, but what we lack is effective administration and management of this massive resource that Providence has bestowed on us. Imagine only less than 1% or 10% of this land is registered. Over 90% of our land are unregistered. And until we can do so, we may not be able to unlock its potential and develop at the pace that we need to. It is unfortunate that after all these decades, we still battle with issues such as security of land tenure, illegal rights of possessions, frictions in land transactions, coexistence of different categories of land rights, such as the native rights, the customary rights of occupancy, statutory rights of occupancy. While status existed period to the Land Use Act to address land administration, their provisions, they varied between northern and southern states. Although Land Use Act was intended to harmonize these laws, its implementation has been inconsistent due to the largely absence of comprehensive guidelines. This has left gaps in the uniform application of Land Use Act, which we are now determined to address. So under the renewed hope agenda of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, we are committed to making a meaningful difference in land administration. To achieve this, we are bringing a new sense of urgency, political commitment, and determination. Importantly, we are building on the good work and credible programs of the past, which were established with the best intentions to fix these long-standing issues. As I've often said, our problem has not been absence of solutions or good ideas. What we have lacked is the political will to implement these solutions. Fortunately, we now have a president who not only possesses the political will, but also determination to see these solutions implemented. This National Technical Development Forum on Land Administration is one of the programs that this government is ready and willing to support to ensure it achieves its objectives. It was established in 2006 by the then Ministry of Works, Housing and Urban Development. The Ntdf serves as a central platform for the exchange of ideas. The states and the federal ministries of housing and the Federal Capital Territory on the interpretation and application of land laws. So the forum's ultimate goal is promoting initiatives that standardize and harmonize land administration and registration systems nationwide. This is crucial in achieving consistent practices that benefit the entire country. When we came on board, I reviewed the Ntdf's terms of reference and was pleased to see that they align closely with the renewed hope agenda's goals of streamlining our administration. This includes forging consensus on the uniform operation of land administration, establishing software standards for future interpretability, agreeing on consistent data recording formats, simplifying map preparation using modern technology, and establishing common cartographic standards. Additionally, Ntdf aims to improve the process of land administration and registration, create a uniform environment for property ownership, and avoid duplicative efforts that waste public resources. It is for these reasons and many others that we have provided the necessary support to the development to drive the Ntdf's agenda, because we believe that it will contribute significantly towards making our land administration system more efficient and transparent. While I acknowledge the progress the Ntdf has made over the past 18 years through its regional workshops and networking efforts, much remains to be achieved, the forum's noble objectives. This is not criticizing, but rather call for renewed focus and effort. In the next few years, we should aim to give ourselves at least 70% score in terms of what the Ntdf has delivered, in line with the aims and objectives of the founders 18 years ago. Let us make a checklist, sort of activities that can be achieved annually, so that we can be reviewing it either biannually to know the level of progress that we are achieving. The central theme of 2024 Ntdf is review of compensation rates on crops and economic trees for project-affected persons in Nigeria. The Ntdf has rightly prioritized this component of its mandate because of its central nature of land administration. Crops and economic trees such as cocoa, palm, kola nut, mango, cashew trees, among others, are not just sources of income. They are multi-generational assets that represent years, even decades of labor and hope. These trees are also tied to cultural and social identities. When displaced or destroyed in the course of land acquisition for public projects, the loss can be devastating, not only financially, but emotionally. That is why it is essential to ensure that compensation rates reflect the true value of the assets, considering both their immediate and long-term economic importance. The Land Use Act of 1978 stipulates that the government has the right to acquire land for public purposes, but it has also provided the framework for fair compensation when public land acquisition affects livelihoods. However, the reality on the ground often reflects delays disputes, and inadequate compensation that fails to account for the true value of agricultural investments. Under the Renewed Hope agenda of Mr. President, we believe that adequate compensation for crops and economic trees is not just a legal obligation, it is a moral one. This reflects our commitment to fairness, equity, and protection of vulnerable citizens who may lack the means to advocate themselves in the face of powerful interests. Fair compensation ensures that project-affected persons are not further impoverished by the very projects they are supposed to bring development and prosperity to our nation, just as presented by the National Coordinator RAMP. We all know that the current compensation rates set in 2008, that's 16 years ago, have become obsolete and do not reflect today's economic realities or global best practices. In light of this, the federal government is reviewing these rates to ensure fairness and justice for landowners affected by expropriation. This review, supported by the RAM, Rural Access and Agricultural Marketing Program, seeks to ensure that compensation reflects the true market value of lost assets, including long-term investments like cocoa, palm, rubber, and cashew, or even other mango trees, etc., which generate income for the affected communities. Because imagine that I ask my driver, how I'll come in, how much does he buy one mango from the market? He used to go to market and buy us one mango. One mango is sold now at 2,000 naira, one piece of mango. And each tree produces, someone has planted that tree and it has grown, is giving him minimum of 100 seeds, mangoes, per annum, per season. 100 times 2,000, that means 200,000. This is what this individual reaps from this mango tree every annually. So imagine during compensation, he's just paid a peanut of a small amount of 500 naira, or even less than that, by the compensation rate that we are applying now. This shows there is no fairness to it. That's why the Land Use Act that is meant to give us the guidelines has given leeway for us to keep on reviewing whatever it is there. During this process of producing the blueprint for this compensation, revised compensation rates, we have ensured that compensation reflects the current market realities. It reflects also the environmental and social value of economic trees is considered. So also vulnerable groups, including women, the elderly, and marginalized communities are not left disadvantaged. Compensation payments are timely, and the process is straightforward and transparent. So the 2024 Ntdf meeting, this meeting currently provides an opportunity for all stakeholders, government agencies, the project developers, civil society, the farmers, traditional institutions, to review and validate the data collected from the field to ensure that a fair and standard compensation is adopted. That's the essence of this conference. Together, we must develop a policy framework that balances development needs with the protection of livelihoods and even the environment. By the end of this exercise, I hope we can reach consensus that leads to ratification of these new rates. As we embark on this important review, let us remember that the true measure of development is not only in the infrastructure we build or the project we complete, but in the lives we uplifted and the communities we strengthen. I have full confidence that the outcomes of this forum will pave way for a more equitable, just and transparent compensation system for all project-affected persons in Nigeria. I thank you all for your attention and commitment to this cause. Together, let us ensure that the future of Nigerian farmers and landowners is secured as you continue our national development journey. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, another standing ovation for the Honorable Minister. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, with this speech of the Honorable Minister, the ceremonial opening of this meeting has come to a close. But before we go for tea break, the members of the high table will have their group photograph here. Then other members and the directors will join them outside for the bigger group photograph. Now group photograph, high table, cameras. After, we now join them outside. All other directors and participants and invitees to join in the other group photograph. Thank you. After this session, we now request all the directors and delegates to join the Honorable Ministers outside for the group photograph again. We thank everyone for this opening ceremony. After the photo session, we'll come back for tea break, 30 minutes tea break before the technical session continue. Thank you.